Ayo, Chiksua here. Today we're going to full auto the training grotto, also known as the training cave, without using any food. I also had an old video, but I deleted that video. So some people asked me, hey, why did you delete that? So first of all, thanks guys for still watching that video with those outdated teams. Of course, autoing was still possible, but yeah, I have noticed the music I used in that wasn't copyright free, so just in case for future references, I decided to delete that video. Finally, I got some time to redo the guides with some updated teams, which are probably faster than the old teams, because yeah, a lot of new units got released and other stuff. And if you think this channel is helpful, or you don't want to miss any future content, make sure to subscribe, eventually turning on the notification bell, or join the Discord, because on our Discord you will always stay up to date. Before we are going to start with our first fight, I want to mention at this state of the game, you have so many new units in general, so autoing has become really easy in general to auto. Just use a mono team, which has the elemental advantage, and you should be good to go, but there are still of course teams which might be better or which might be faster. Coming to the first stage, it's the Bishop of Love, also known as Hellbrom, and yeah, so we're going to use this team, and the reason why we only use 3 teams is if we can beat the 90k, just use 3 units, so that later on in the fourth fight, we always have to mirror, and that way we can just make it, or we can save time. The reason why I have our Arthur on the left side is he has a detonate card, so he hits pretty hard when they have a lot of ultimate gorges, so that's why we want him not to attack in the first turn, and with this positioning he will attack in the second turn. Depending on if we are getting merges or not, it might change, like here for example. So maybe Arthur in the middle may be better, and Merlin left side, so because if Merlin gets this card, if I'm not wrong, it's this card, it will seal, yeah. So basically he can only use attack cards, and he can't buff, he can't use debuffs or anything else besides of normal attack cards, and that is really helpful. But also our Gotha has a seal too, which isn't too bad. So as you can see, nothing happened in the previous turn, and unfortunately actually, did we use that card? I didn't pay attention. But yeah, I think we have used the detonate card already, at least the first one, and we are about to finish. We also get an ult, which is, I would say, lucky, but as you can see, our units are super tanky, because at this state of the game, I think most of you guys have enough blue units which are level 80, or also units who have Rupture card are really good here, because if he buffs, obviously Rupture card deals double the damage. So for example, if you have the blue Rimuru, or if you have the small blue Diane. Coming to the overwhelming terror, so he's one of the easier stages, I would say. You can just use any red unit, so I really like to use DPS units. And also our Monspeed, he has a weak point card. That is the reason why we are using a unit who can also provide a debuff, which is in this case a ignite, so that it does more damage. So this one is really easy, there's nothing much to talk about. Back in the days I used, for example, also the red Lizhawk. But yeah, so at this state of the game, again, they are really weak compared to back in the days. So we can just use anything, and I like it to try to have only DPS to make it as fast as possible. So I think we need one more turn, yeah. So the next turn we are gonna be easily taking him down, while we're even getting a golden card. But yeah, so I would say autoing training cave these days, eventually, not 100%, you may be even able to just press on auto and then removing the last unit. That might be enough, but you may trouble when you have to actually face your own team. So it is always better to just choose your own team, and then it's safe for one time. A lot of people also ask me, hey, how are your teams saved before? If you are going to use a sync code and log in, all your teams will be resetted. But if you log in with, like for example, Facebook, Mail, or Apple ID, Google, you won't get kicked out, and the teams will save on the device you use last. Coming to the Explosive Giant, this is one of the hardest stages back in the days to actually auto, but yeah, the main reason was he hits really hard, and he puts on a debuff, which makes us taking more damage. So a cheat code for that stage was using a Gallant, for example. With a Gallant you won't be able, or he won't be able to give you any debuffs anymore, and your units are automatically tankier, and also he can get petrified. But we will use this team, and this team is so strong against the explosive giant that it's actually just in one turn. So you guys will see basically what will happen here is Jericho is important so that you deal a bit more damage to secure to kill him in one turn. What will happen is the AI will use the defense break and then the T1 cards, and it's GG's. So the hardest stage just became the fastest stage possible or we can do. I think if you use 11 that might work too, or eventually Sariel. We are coming to our first mirror match now, and what I usually do is I use the auto set. So I did that already, and because my first auto set is with AM, AM is a unit who can just solo it, so without any issue. So that's why we are going in with only AM, so that we don't waste too many units. And also don't use AM in the other stages, because if you use AM in the other stages, it's going to be annoying when you have to face your own AM, because yeah, with all those stacks it's a bit annoying. But because of the type advantage, we are not going to die, we are still okay. And depending on the cards we use, if we use the AoE, we easily are full health again. I'm pretty sure we are going to use the golden card, right? So yeah, so with this we are easily full health again, and Jericho already died, so that was super fast. Of course, you can also use a full commandment team, for example, if you feel insecure. Also, we don't use any food at all, so if you have troubles with any stages, use attack food. That would make your life also a bit easier. And here, as you can see, only T1 is left. He doesn't have the ult while we have the ult though, so we are going to be easily just killing him with ult, I think. Yeah, even without the crit and him having all the stacks. Coming to the Vigorous Conqueror, so he's also one of the super easy stages. The only annoying part about him is when he gets the ult. That's why your team should be containing like 1 or 2 dissolve units. So like for example, 1 is enough if you're going to manual it, 2 just to make sure that he never gets ult, or at least until he dies he never gets ult. But as you can see, we deal a decent amount of damage. I really like Zeldris here because Zeldris hits really hard. The same goes to our Hellbram. So if you want your Hellbram to hit harder, if I'm not wrong, Hellbram increases his stats depending on how many units you still have alive. I'm not sure if the backline counts, so if the backline counts, you can make him stronger by putting another unit, but it's not really necessary and it only takes more time if you do come to the point where you actually have to mirror the stage. Because yeah, as usual, we are going to try, if possible, to use only 3 units in total, so that we reduce the time we spent in training cave, because at this point of the game, I think not many people enjoy doing training cave. So like for example, maybe trying out new teams just for fun every training cave will make it to a challenge. Or like for example, hey, we will only use rare units and SR units. That will eventually also make training cave maybe more fun. But the main reason we all do this is just to get the UR stones if possible, and hammers. Coming to the Obsessed Knight, I would say he's also one of the harder stages, but if you are going to use Valenti, he barely hits that hard anymore, and we're just using a mono-human green team. So another unit which back in the days I used was, for example, Jericho. Jericho hits decently hard, or for example Alioni, so he will taunt and Alioni will basically sacrifice his life so that our damage dealers don't get attacked. But here, as you can see, if we are using Valenti, he doesn't hit that hard anymore, and you also have like for example a defense break in turn 2. If it's getting used, I'm not 100% sure. No. Well, whatever. But yeah, so it's still super easy. Maybe Easton isn't the best choice here because Easton is using her useless debuff, so it takes a lot of time. So maybe using another green unit like the green Jericho might be better, but Easton is cute, you know? The same goes to Roxy, right? I think everyone agrees there's at least we should try, or when we have the chance we should use those units. But yeah, so yes, a unit will die, a unit might die, that's normal, but we still can clear without any issue. And we even have the ult now. So does it actually work that he doesn't get ult? Does it work? I never paid attention because usually I just auto and then I'm AFK for like 3 minutes and I never pay attention to that. But it looks like he doesn't cleanse himself. So Green Eastern with the 2-star seal is actually pretty good so that he doesn't get ult. But yeah, here as you can see, maybe if we would switch up, for example, using a Green Gotha works too, but then we can't use Roxy, or at least we can't use Valenti. So yeah, here our Eastern is only 1-6, so unfortunate. Else she would have killed for sure. But yeah, next round for sure we are going to defense break, and I think Valenti's defense break is more than enough. As you can see, thanks to Valenti, we are still not dead. I think if you guys are doing the Obsessed Knight, you guys know exactly what I'm talking about. That it's really annoying that he hits so hard. But with the reduced damage, we are good to go. Coming to the Time Spirit. So back in the days, Vivian and also Slater were the key units of the Time Spirit, because the Time Spirit only has debuffs. So Slater was always able to seal, and whenever she got the ult, the Vivian was able to seal the ult as well, so she doesn't do any damage. But yeah, at this point of the game, I prefer to try to make it as fast as possible because all the debuffs barely do anything. So using a Sariel here is basically like a cheat, because as you can see, he deals a lot of damage with his power strike, and until we die or until she really hurts with the ult, she probably, or we probably finish with the stage already. And also we still have our Slater here just to increase the crit chance, to make sure if we can actually crit more, we obviously deal more damage here, as you can see. And that is also the reason why we have Jericho. With Jericho with a 10% more attack related stats, it's really fast to do the stage without any issue. Coming to the second mirror, so in general, just use Mono Red who has AoE, that would be the best. Here for example, we will do this. We will take her because else she will be in the next team as well. So now we have a lot of AoE units and we can just auto this stage without any issue. So this was actually pretty lucky that we have Mono Red here, but even if it's blue, I still would take this team just to save some time, because it's at this point of the game really not that necessary anymore to pay attention to, oh okay, this, and we also have 1 unit more most of the time, depending on how good your account is. But yeah, here it's really perfect. If you are unsecure, as usual, either use attack food or just really take the advantage type you have, so that you obviously deal more damage while the others deal less damage, because all in all, those are still your own units and they have the same stats as if you would use them. But yeah, so as you can see, they don't deal that much damage because of the type advantage. So I think Roxy may die here already. I'm not sure. Yeah, she will definitely die here already. And Roxy is the only, I would say, damage threat in this team. So yeah, it's GG's already. I mean, yes, this stage takes a bit longer because we are using Valenti, so maybe using Valenti is not the greatest idea, because yeah, we lose time later on a bit if we have to face this team. But yeah, like I said, you can also use, for example, a Alioni to increase the damage and also to taunt. Even though the Obsessed Knight, he has a taunt debuff, or not the taunt debuff, a stance debuff where you can't use stances. But yeah, here as you can see, wow, we actually have the Lost Vein ult. So yeah, pretty much GG's with the Lost Vein ult. It's a piece of cake anyways, or any ult we would have gotten or whatever, even without the ult, of course. Coming to the Frenzied Giant, and I think I really love this team the most, because this is the biggest cheese team and it's so nice. Here he got a lot of merges as well, so depending on how good your fraud run is, like for example, hey, mine is level 60, so it's not that fast as if someone would have a level 1 fraud run, so we will need 2 turns obviously. But yeah, next turn a fraud run is going to die if we are getting the ult of our Arthur. it's done. So basically in 2 turns. If you, like mentioned, have a lower level on your fraud run, it's only 1 turn, super fast and super awesome. Because yeah, if you guys don't know, Arthur gains 50% crit damage plus additional 50% if he has full ult gauge. So this ult, depending on how high your ult level is, will just one-shot. I'm not really sure if even, so maybe even a 1-6 might one-shot. I can't really tell you guys. It also depends on the SA level and stuff. But yeah, if you can't one-shot, use another unit in additional. The Demon Hendrickson. So back in the days, I would say Demon Hendrickson was one of the annoying stages as well. Instead of him, I used Gustav, and instead of her, I used the green normal Merlin. Because yeah, his ult is really annoying. So we always had a dissolve when we used that. Here, it was really unlucky that he has the ult already, so the reason why we use the Demon Melee here is he can just seal the ults, and our Loli Merlin will hit really hard next round. Also, he has a lifesteal. So with the debuff of our Loli Merlin, he can't lifesteal anymore because we will put the Infect. I think the name is Infect, I'm not really sure anymore. But yeah, with this team, I think it's totally okay to take 1 ult. And Loli Merlin will just destroy him later on. And yeah, so unfortunately we didn't crit. But oh damn, we didn't use the debuff of Loli Merlin. So maybe Loli Merlin on the right side wouldn't be that bad. So that we use the Infect no matter what. But yeah, so damn, he didn't even die. I think it's probably a weak point ult as the normal Demon Hendrickson. I am not 100% sure. I don't read the ults that much, or I don't remember at least. And yeah, here as you can see, we actually drew the ult, so we will probably buff and ult. And because the Merlin is 2-6, I don't think we can one-shot. Yeah, we can't, but yeah, next round it's basically GG's because we have the debuff, we have the golden card, we have another buff. I'm not sure if the AI will use the buff. I think the AI will use the buff and the debuff. So it's very unfortunate that we didn't use the debuff of our Loli Merlin early on because he always heals up. It is low-key annoying, but is this enough to kill already? Yes, the Warzone Glutton. So this stage was back in the days also really hard because he really hits hard. So green Escanor, I would say everyone has, and green Escanor really synergizes with the green Monspeed. So back in the days we didn't use green Monspeed. We used, instead of green Monspeed, I had the green small Diane, because yeah, she will tank the damage, because as you can see, he hits really hard. It's really annoying, especially because it's our main damage dealer. But we are still good to go, and our daddy is here just to dissolve, because if he gets the ult, it's pretty hard. But as you can see, it's only 2 turns when we are getting the weak points cards, or in general cards of Monspeed, because he hits insanely hard when there is a ignite on a unit. And we are already at the end. We are in our last fight. So as usual, we're just going to do this. Sometimes we have to face, for example, the mirror where we use the fraud rune. I really like to use the green draw there, because that will prevent from getting ulted, or in general, yeah. So it will be sealed for 2 turns, and then the Arthur won't do anything. And when we actually face the Arthur, it's only 2 units, while 1 unit is level 60. It will save us a lot of time. So here, of course, this is a mono green team, and we have 2 units who are blue, so maybe changing out or switching the positioning with the roll might have been not a bad idea, but it doesn't really matter, because first of all, we have 4 units, and also it is the very last fight. So now we can basically just go AFK, getting a coffee, getting a tea, maybe watching a nice 18+ anime. I don't know what you guys are doing in your free time, so it really depends. But yeah, so okay, King is definitely a bad choice here because of the cleanse. It's just annoying, it's losing time, but like I said, it doesn't really matter. It's our last fight, and as long we can auto, I think it is fine. And in none of the fights we didn't use any food at all. So like mentioned, if your account is not that ready, maybe you have to use food. Maybe you have to actually think about the teams a bit more. But yeah, at this state of the game on this account, as you can see, the only threat basically is already gone, because without ignites, a Monspeed doesn't do damage. I mean, of course he does a decent amount, but he doesn't do the increased damage anymore, so we shouldn't have any problems. The only problem when we face this team is we probably can't ult because of the Daddy Addy, because yeah, as usual, she has the dissolve, and here as you can see, they are slowly getting ult, but our draw comes in help, and they will not be able to get the ult at all. So yeah, like I said, this right now is a really bad setup a really bad setup to fight a mono green team, because we have 2 blue units, but as you can see, nothing really happens. And also Daddy doesn't have a dissolve, it seems. Okay, she does have one, but only one, so we are good to go already. So we will just... Hey, why don't you use the ult? Okay, that's whatever, guys. But yeah, they are still sealed, so it doesn't really matter. I think this should kill. Nope, but yeah, if we use the ult, we are good to go. And they didn't even use any cards because of the seal, which is awesome. And this should be enough. Even if Daddy does use the ult and one-shot someone, it doesn't matter at all, because we still have 2 other units standing here. So let's see. Okay, he actually died because we have a 5/6 Daddy, but yeah, Daddy is about to die, and this time finally our Ludo decided to use the ult with like 1 HP left. But yeah, this is basically how you can easily auto the training cave. Obviously it would have been much smarter to show you guys, like for example, we didn't use Hauser at all, we didn't use Blue Demon Melee at all. If we would have used those units in the last stage, that would have been much faster and much better together with Lilia, but we didn't use those 3 units at all. And I think everyone has that at this state of the game, right? We also didn't use Rugal. Rugal is a good unit. Kyo if you summoned on KOF. But yeah, that's it, guys. That's it for the video. I really hope it was helpful or you enjoyed watching this. Thanks for tuning in, and peace out for now.